Good morning. We are very, very privileged today to speak to our legal team from the Mossel Bay Municipality. I'm not always sure if our residents know what an active legal team we have. And our first guest today is Melanie Smit, legal advisor at the Mossel Bay Municipality. Welcome, Melanie.
Firstly, thank you for having us today. By way of introduction, I'm Melanie Smit, legal advisor at the municipality. Then our other colleagues you will be having today is Mr. Douw Steyn, also a legal advisor, Ms. Jolandi van der Berg, also a legal advisor, and then our colleague, Mr. Daniel Smit, who's the municipal prosecutor at the municipal court.
Thank you for the introduction, Melanie. Can you perhaps inform our listeners what exactly is the work of legal services for the municipality?
Certainly, thank you for that question. Legal services reports to the Office of the Municipal Manager. The legal advisors deal with various directorates within the municipality. I specifically deal with corporate services, financial services, and infrastructure services. Mr. Steyn deals with property-related aspects of the infrastructure services and then the Directorate Planning and Economic Development. Mrs. van der Berg works with the Community Services Directorate and the Community Safety one. Mr. Smit is the municipal prosecutor and deals with bylaw transgressions referred to him and then traffic-related matters as well. All the legal advisor supports the various departments with legal advice and assistance on a daily basis.
Why would a municipality need legal advisors?
Well, there are almost 150 pieces of legislation that are applicable to municipalities to some extent. Now, that is quite a lot. With the Municipal Finance Management Act, Structures Act, and Systems Act being the most important. Everything that a municipality does is governed by legislation and regulations, and municipalities need to ensure that they are compliant and accountable therewith. The legal advisors, to the best of our ability, endeavours to assist all of the departments of the municipality in the interpretation and application of the relevant legislation. Municipal law is a very specific field of law that must be understood in the context of local government and how the various laws interact with each other. We are basically a creature of statute and must comply therewith.
Yes, I think that's something that people often don't understand, the absolute importance of the legal structure within a municipality. Can you perhaps tell us more about the type of work the legal advisors do on a daily basis?
Yes, well, as usual, we have administrative work that we deal with, and then we have the more specific tasks that include research, drafting opinions, attending meetings to provide opinions, drafting concluding contracts, handling litigation matters. We also do disciplinary hearings for human resources, where we are the presiding officers. And then more specifically, perhaps related to Mr. Steyn, he provides comments on liquor license applications, comments on evictions, and other ad hoc legal work. We also work specifically with the debt collection matters of the municipality and then supply chain more specifically as well.
That is a massive load of work. Just a few of the things you mentioned is definitely more than just a day's work. So do the legal advisors actually work with the public as well?
No, we work for the municipality itself and cannot do private work for individuals, unfortunately. We do, however, assist individuals with their queries in relation to municipal matters, but we cannot provide legal advice or act on the individual's behalf.
So this is basically also an invitation to the public. If they have any issues concerning matters relating to municipal issues, they can at least contact you for advice, but not legal advice per se. Where are the legal advisors situated?
Well, I myself am situated at the main building in Marsh Street. Mr. Steyn and Mrs. van der Berg is situated in Montague Building in Montague Street. And then Mr. Smit is situated at the Municipal Court on the lower ground floor of the library in Marsh Street.
Let's talk about tenders a bit. With tenders being a highly regulated matter within local government, is legal services involved in this process?
Yes, we are quite involved. As the municipality's supply chain department resorts under financial services, it falls within my competencies to assist the department. The municipality's legal advisors are members of the bid specification committees and also the bid evaluation committees. Assistance is also provided with daily supply chain, legislative and tender queries from the department, be it in terms of interpretation of the clauses or documents provided by bidders.
Now, what process does a tender follow?
Well, it starts with a department identifying a need for services or goods, in terms of which various internal processes must be followed for approval to procure or buy the goods or services. For purposes of this question, I will just address the process that the tender follows from advertisement. A tender is advertised with a closing date. On that date at 12 o'clock, the supply chain department opens the tender box and records all the bids received in a register in the open public. Any person may attend this, it is quite open. The tender is then evaluated in terms of the specifications and requirements of legislation by the Bid Evaluation Committee, and thereafter the Bid Adjudication Committee considers the report and either awards the bid or makes a recommendation to the municipal manager if the bid is above 10 million rand. Thereafter, all bidders receive letters of being responsive or non-responsive, and a 14-day objection and 21-day appeal period is then applicable. When the period has lapsed and there are no valid appeals or objections, then the bid is awarded and the contracts are entered into with the preferred bidder.
That's very interesting, and it's quite a process, it seems, but a very two-way process if one knows the guidelines. What are some of the most important tips that you can give potential bidders for them to adhere to and then do business with the municipality?
Well, some of the things they can look out for is the completeness of their documents, reading and really understanding what is required from the tender. And they can also call for clarity or to clear up any ambiguity in the tender document itself. They will see on the tender advertisement there is a person listed that can be called for tender queries and also supply chain related queries. The other things they can look out for is attaching supporting documents and ensuring all the information is verifiable that they include in the bid. Bidders should also ensure that they tender alone and not in conjunction with another bidder, as similarities in bids could be seen as bid rigging.
Okay, bid rigging. Interesting concept. What is bid rigging exactly?
Well, in plain terms, bid rigging is when two bidders, who should in fact compete for a tender, conspire or agree to work together to obtain the bid. This could be through market, area, or even item allocation.
What are some of the indications that you see which might indicate that bidders are potentially bid rigging?
Well, you would most often see that the companies have the same director or mutual directors even. Similar handwriting would be seen in the bids, the same bid amounts, or consistent differences in amounts with small increments. Only tendering for some items and the other bidder tendering for the remaining items. And also, some of the supporting documents are often similar as well, and there is almost always a link between the companies of some sort.
What happens when bid rigging is suspected?
Well, the matter is referred to legal services because it's picked up when supply chain management does the evaluation in the bids. So they refer to us for investigation, and then we follow due process whereby the bidders are informed of the municipality's findings and their comments or explanations are requested. So we write them a letter setting out what we found in their bid, and then we provide them an opportunity to provide an explanation for that. Their comments and explanations are then considered as well, and the way forward in terms of applicable legislation is followed.
So even still, there is enough guidelines for bidders to correct their ways if they are not correct. Are there other processes in terms of supply chain and tenders where legal services is involved?
Yes, we are also involved in the appeals process of tenders. When a tender is awarded, there is a 21-day appeal period, as I stated previously. This is applicable in terms of which bidders may appeal the outcome of a tender. They have to submit their grounds of appeal. Now, those are the reasons why they are not satisfied with the outcome of the tender to the municipality. The appeal is then referred to an external attorney who is provided with all the relevant tender information and documents to consider the appeal. The attorney then provides an independent, objective opinion which is considered by the appeal authority to decide to either uphold the appeal and refer it back for re-evaluation, or the appeal is then dismissed.
Melanie Smit from our Legal Services Department at the Mossel Bay Municipality, thank you very, very much for a very insightful talk. I'm sure members of the public and our listeners today know a lot more on how they should approach the bidding process, the tender process, and the like.
Yes, thank you very much for having us today. This was my first time on radio and I enjoyed it very much, and I look forward to the next instance. Thank you all to all the listeners as well.